You want me to adjust this?
There we go. Finally. I just went.
Do you want to tilt it? Change the.
You can.
Yeah.
Finally. Okay.
I don't know if that did anything.
That went right back up.
It's okay.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, Wick stickers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you need that. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much. Yeah. I know. Now I just need to see.
I'm going to test that I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. I know. Can you guys just let me know? I know I'm going to be waiting. Hello. Sorry I'm so late. But if you could just let me know if you can. Is Brody in here? Yeah, he's in here. If you guys can just let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Hello. Okay, there we go. Now I see the chat going. Chris has it set up to where I'm good. Okay, I'm good. Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, Chris just checked to make sure that the audio is working fine. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I'm late. We realized that the webcam needed to update right before I went live. So that is just great. But I'm here now. So hello, everybody. And as I know, the sound is working okay, so you guys can hear me. Hello. Good afternoon, probably evening for a lot of you guys, because I know a lot of you are probably on the East Coast, so it's a little after 4 over here. So what I wanted to do in today's video is it's going to be a work with me kind of video. So I thought that I would just prep some candles with you guys, and we're actually doing the little gold candles. So, I will just be talking with you guys and checking on the chat every now and then. Feel free to, ask some questions, give me some topics to talk about. And yeah, we're gonna have some fun. Our toddler is over with my mom, so no baby noises in the back or anything like that going on. So what I'm going to be doing is prepping 50 of our gold tins. So these are little gold tins right here, and I'm going to be prepping 50 of these for Chris to pour. I would love to do a live stream of candle making, but we were not set up today to do any kind of pouring at the moment at this time. So I thought I could just prep candles for you guys and, just enjoy and hang out and see what you guys are up to. What are you guys doing today? Feel free to let me know in the chat. It is actually a relatively gloomy day here in SoCal. It was very humid. I think there's supposed to be thunderstorms tomorrow or something. I saw on my phone there's supposed to be thunderstorms. So I'm like, So actually, before I do that, I'm going to, Chris is probably laughing at me because I never do this anymore. So I'm just like, let me just prep all these wicks. So before I get into it, we use the CD3 wicks, and we get the 3-inch ones so that they're, much shorter than the 6-inch ones. We still do have to trim a little bit off though when the candles are set, but the 1-inch wicks are too short for these, so it doesn't give enough. So let me just start getting the wicks on these. Making fall candles. Oh yes, we have been making so many fall candles. It has been so busy. We have been so busy. Wholesale has been fantastic. We've been growing more and more. Just released the fall collection back on September 5th, and that's been really good. And I will say this was the first year in quite a while. I think it was my first year in business. It was either 2020 or 2021. I actually think it might have been 2021 that I had tea lights. I had tea light sets, and those were really successful, but I hated making them. I'm just not a fan of making tea lights, but these are really fun. These are kind of like tea lights with their own little candles. So these we get from Paper Mart, and they are 2-ounce candles or 2-ounce tins, but they're 1.5-ounce candles. Let's see. Oh, my big plan for today is trying out a new recipe for lemon pepper chicken. That sounds really good. I was looking up a recipe on making any kind of one-pot dish or, pressure cooker meal or something, because, man, the amount of time that would save me to just prep it during my son's nap time and then have it ready by dinner. I need to do more of that. It's just a matter of having everything prepared ahead of time, because that makes things so much faster and so much easier. Let's see. I've been looking into new vessels, trying to get creative and mix things up. Yeah, my candle making friend told me that California Candle Supply released new holiday Cali jars. And honestly, the photos on their website does not do it justice, because she ended up sending me photos of what they look like in person, and they are so beautiful. But the photos online just don't show that at all. So I don't know. I feel like we specifically have a hard time with deviating from what we're used to. And I think it's because we're in such a rhythm and routine. So as you can see, all of the jars over here are ready to be trimmed and labeled and all of that. And I guess if you haven't noticed, I decided to choose this task instead of that task, because these jars, so let me show you guys. These jars are the 10-ounce clear Cali jars. Now, because of the way that wax is, when it heats up, it expands, but when it cools, it contracts. So there's always this little line that gets left over on the jars, and Chris will have to go through and wipe that up. Luckily, we don't sell as many of these clear jars as we do of the matte black jars, but it's definitely something that we still want it to look really nice. So, we just got to make sure we get that cleaned up before we send it off to the customer. But I don't know. I just thought it would be more fun to get these gold tins, prepped and ready to go. I'm not even counting these wicks that I'm doing. I guess it doesn't really matter, because I can always make more if I need some. So these are wick stickers, again, from California Candle Supply. These ones are, the wicks, I think, are from Bulk Apothecary. And I liked these because with these candles, I wanted to make sure that there was as much life out of these as possible, because the first ones that I made, I realized that the metal tab, so the stem, I don't know if that's the right term, but the metal, that sticks up, I think it's like what is that called? I know it's called something, but I can't remember exactly what it is. I know you know what I'm talking about though. But that was way too long. So the candle was getting maybe like 4 hours and then it was done. And I like to get about 8 to 10 hours out of these. Now, it would be silly to expect, 20, 30 hours out of these tiny little candles. That would be just ridiculous. But I do like to get, at least 8 hours out of these for the customer. And we just found that these wicks do pretty well with these containers. Now, in terms of, I think somebody asked me what the diameter was of these. I'm trying to think in my head. Do I have a ruler over here? Can I reach this? I can. I cannot remember this off the top of my head. Let's see. This is 1, 2, almost 2.5, like just shy of 2.5 inches, I would say. So it's got a decent diameter. So these are the ones, I know there's ones that are a little bit taller and they have a smaller diameter, which in hindsight, I probably should have gone with those because I feel like the burn on them would be better. But I mean, these ones have sold so well and a lot of people really like them. So I just decided to keep with that one. Let me see. Got some. Yeah, some suppliers need to work on their lighting and their product photos. Yeah, it is interesting, and I'm sure maybe some of you who have been making candles for a while, have you seen the what do you call it? have you seen kind of the upgrade with some of these candle suppliers? Because I feel like the Flaming Candle went through a rebrand. I know that, or not even a rebrand, just kind of a revamp of their website. I know California Candle Supply did. They definitely are better than what they used to be. Candle Cocoon did as well. And funny enough, the first candle supplier that I ever ordered from was Virginia Candle Supply. And I completely forget about them. I actually don't even know if they're still in business or not. I think so, but I'm not entirely sure. But I purchased from them on eBay. I think eBay was the first place because, of course, I was reselling on eBay. And I'm pretty sure that eBay was the first place that I ever went looking for fragrance oil. And I'm so curious if I even found any other candle supplies on there. But I went to, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, eBay, like all of those were just the original places that I went to and had, found candle making supplies. So I found that really interesting when I look back, because I just had no idea that there was actual, professional places that people, like anybody, could order from. I don't even think that it was something that I thought about at the time when I was first, getting into it and first looking into making candles. And then I found California Candle Supply and found out that they were relatively close to where I live, definitely within driving distance. So that was really exciting. And I know that for a lot of people, I think I just had somebody comment on my channel saying they found out that they actually live close to California Candle Supply, or that their candle supplier is, 10 minutes from their house, which, I mean, that is such an exciting thing to realize. I think I actually felt that way when I realized that the manufacturer of our wax that we use is about 20 minutes away from us. So that was probably one of the coolest and most exciting things in the very beginning, in the early days of when I was, just getting into everything. And I found out that I was so close to all these suppliers. Let's see, two wicks for those, or just one? For these little tins, we just use one. If I use two, I probably just have to use quite a bit of beeswax in there. For these, we just use only soy 10 versus our other jars. We add in a little bit of beeswax to try to bring up that melt point. And, but yeah, just one wick in these is totally fine. I'm trying to finish up testing so I can launch, and I just got a cold and can't smell. Oh no, Gretchen. I'm so sorry. Are you able to have anybody, like family members or friends or anybody that can like help you smell? Like, can you smell this candle while it's burning? Does it, that's the hard part too, is that, it's so subjective. So you could ask somebody else and say, does this candle smell really strong when it's burning? And there would be people who would be like, oh, yeah. And then other people who would say, no. It's so subjective. And I think that can be a really challenging part of the testing process, is to know, is this actually a strong smelling candle or not? But I'm so sorry. I hope you feel better soon. Try tasting them instead. Yeah, definitely don't taste them. I've had such a fear of accidentally ingesting fragrance oil. Oh my gosh. I am such a crazy hand washer when it comes to, I mean, I'm sure most people are, but when it comes to any kind of fragrance oil, I'm just washing my hands like crazy. And because it's fragrance oil, it still is basically on my hands and I still smell it. So I think that the oil itself is still on my hands, when really, it's just like if you wash your hands with soap and there's fragrance in it, you're going to still smell it on your hands. Okay, so now the nice thing about these tins is they come in these boxes of 25. So when we're shipping for wholesale, we reuse these boxes to ship out to the customers. And it's just a really great way to be able to have them fit really well. So we reuse these all the time. So what I'm going to do, sorry if it's a little loud, by the way. Chris, I swear sometimes, and I know he's working, but sometimes he's just clinking and clanking in here when I'm trying to get the kid to go down for a nap, or he's already asleep or whatever. And I'm like, can you not make so much noise? Our order's slow right now. Not really. So wholesale, no. Retail, it's kind of a mid-range right now for retail. It's I wouldn't say it's slow, but I wouldn't say it's like really like, it's like, you know, we're not getting tons of orders all the time or anything. So it's kind of like a mid-range right now with orders. But wholesale is doing well. I think it's because recently we started ranking for our white label listings. So our white label option on Faire has, the views on that has increased so much. It's bringing in the most traffic. So we've gotten way more white label orders, way more requests and messages and all that kind of stuff. So I think that just is like an SEO or a ranking thing or something that's, whoopsies, that's on there. Am I missing something? I feel like, no, that's the same chat. It just looks different. Sorry, I have two different windows for the chat, and I felt like the other chat was different, but it's not. Whoopsies. I had my first wholesale order last week with a local business. That is so exciting. Congratulations. It is such a cool feeling. I remember my first wholesale order. It was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. It's also really intimidating too, especially if you're not really, you know, not really like if it's your first time in business and you're just, you know, figuring things out, and you get your first wholesale order and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so big. And then you start thinking about all the different things, like how do I ship it? How do I make sure they arrive safely? Like how much do I charge? You know, all these different things. And so, yeah, that's super exciting. Did you walk in and make that transaction happen? Did they contact you? I'm so curious. Let's see, Oh, Chris jumped in the chat. Hey, Chris. Yeah, he helped me get this all set up. We were trying to get a separate mic set up and everything. But yeah, it just wasn't wanting to connect. I was trying to get my mic that I have in my videos to connect on my phone, but it just wasn't happening. I got my second wholesale order on Faire. Yay, that is so exciting. How long have you been on the platform? And just word of, I don't want to say word of wisdom, but I guess just a tip is, if you haven't already, make sure you always send the buyer a message. So we send every single buyer a message, and I swear that has helped us so much. Before I got on the platform and I was looking at different wholesale videos, I never heard anybody talk about that. When I was researching about Faire, people weren't saying to send them a message. A lot of people were actually saying that was a downside to Faire, is that you didn't have that personal connection with the retailer. And honestly, we really strive to have that personal connection regardless of the fact that we aren't able to walk into their shop, which is a bummer sometimes when I think about it, because, you know, when I think about how many places have our candles, and I'm like, man, I would love to be able to go in there and see it on the shelf, which is so cool. But that is definitely something that I would recommend and highly encourage everybody to do if you're selling on Faire. When you do get a sale, make sure that you send the buyer a message just confirming the order, thanking them for the order. It just opens up that communication, and it also shows that you are active and that you care in terms of Faire's perspective. So that is showing engagement, is showing activity, it's showing that you are being, you know, communicative with the buyer and everything like that. So that's super important. 4 years ago, your videos helped me deal with my first encounters with anxiety and sparked a love for candle making, and I just want to say thank you. Well, thank you so much, Calvin, for sharing that with me. It's always so like humbling when I think about that, because when I think about, the videos that I used to put out and how long the videos have been there and how long I've been doing this, and it's so cool to see how many people are still around after all that time, and I'm so happy that my videos have helped you. It really is just so cool to hear. What size are those tins? Are those 2 or 4 ounce? These are 2 ounce. So these are 2 ounce tins, just shy of a 2.5 inch diameter. And we are using CD3 wicks on these. Let's see. I contacted them through Instagram and sent them a brochure with my Faire direct link. I went and met them in person with a little sample basket, and they reached out to me 2 weeks later to order. That is so cool, so awesome. That's really the way to do it. I mean, it's hard because, sometimes it can feel like we're just another person on Instagram sending them a message, another person reaching out, and you never know unless you try. I remember when I had gone into multiple different stores talking to the people that owned it or the people that worked there, and I was so nervous. And honestly, funny enough, we actually still don't have our candles in any local shops, and it's completely my fault, because as soon as we got on Faire and started doing so well on Faire, I'm like, well, we're so used to what we're doing right now. Like, everything is just kind of coming our way from the Faire platform. And, it really says a lot if you can, do that reach out, which I have reached out many times. We've sent a lot of free products to different shops. And, it's just a whole process with how it works. And I am fully under the impression that if you are putting in the effort, putting in the work, reaching out, sending out free product, that is a form of advertising. It is going to come back to you in the best positive way. It can just sometimes feel really, anxiety inducing to have to reach out and have to, figure out. My whole thing is trying to figure out a wholesale reach out plan and, structuring that and how that all works and everything. Because, not the best at organization or any of that or figuring that out. But I have come up with some kind of strategy on how to get, on how to organize that is the best that I have figured out how to do it. So here is just sticking in the wicks, just as centered as I can possibly eyeball it in the moment, and hope that Chris doesn't judge me for my performance of getting these on here. Let's see. What business insurance do you use? So we have Liberty Mutual, and that took me so long in the beginning to figure out what the heck I needed to do in terms of business insurance. It actually took me a few months to really figure out which business insurance to get. And I started off with Next Insurance because I saw so many commercials of it at the time, and it just seemed so easy to get started with it. And it was. I didn't have to talk to anybody. I was able to sign up. But the issue was it came out later on one of the Facebook groups that Next Insurance did not cover manufactured candles. So what I did was I contacted customer service and I asked them, and they said they basically confirmed that they do not cover manufactured candles, so candles that you make yourself. But I guess if you're a candle business where you purchase already made candles, they cover it. I don't know. That's just what I remember hearing. So I had gone back and forth with a couple people over the Facebook group. Some people were hearing, yes, they do cover. Some people were hearing, no, they don't, from different representatives. And I just didn't want to risk that inconsistency on it. So I decided just to move on with a different company. Now, the only thing that I wasn't real wild about was the process of getting with Liberty Mutual, because you had to basically, you couldn't just sign up online or sign up directly through Liberty Mutual. You had to find a local broker in your area and have that company sign you up with Liberty Mutual business insurance. But ever since I've had it, it's been fine. I mean, I just renew it every year with the local business, and it's not a problem. So yeah, that is the business insurance that I use. And I don't ever really give it a second thought, which is, I guess, a good thing, right? Just need to make sure it has product liability. So it's a general and liability insurance policy that has product liability. So that's something that you definitely want to make sure that you have. Let's see. How much they set it for? You've mentioned in previous videos that you do promoted listings on Faire. How much do you set it for? I'm looking into promoting. I don't know how much to start with. So we do, I believe it's 200 or 250. I think it's 200. Now, the thing about the promoted listings on Faire is that it's not always charged the same amount every month. It's based on impressions and clicks or whatever. So it's not always 200 every month. In fact, I think, mom life, and it's gloomy out, so it's making me feel like it's later than what it is. I think the last that they charged me was $80. I think it was $80 or $90. So it's not always the full 200. Actually, I think it's rarely the full 200, which is almost a bummer, because it's one of those things where you want them to be able to utilize and advertise as much as possible. But I don't know, it's just how it works on there. So yeah, that is something that I've thought about increasing the price, doing maybe 300. I know people that do 500, but again, sometimes if you set it at a limit for 500, sometimes it's still, they only do, 70, 80, $100 a month. So it just depends. I don't really know how that all works. And honestly, the promoted listings doesn't really give us that many customers. Now, I think when you look at the ratio, though, I think we've spent, right now off the top of my head, when I think about it, I think we've spent around $800 in ads with Faire since we started over a year ago. I think it was March of 2024 that we started the promoted listings. And I think we've made like 12,000 in sales from the customers from the promoted listings. So it's definitely been worth it in terms of that ratio, but it's not like a huge part of our Faire, but I think it's really great to have, especially when first getting started, and having that as an option, because it's kind of like Etsy ads, to be able to have that directly on the platform without, having to worry about a lot of the back end stuff is really awesome. Oh, thank you, Veronica. Most everything I've learned from candle making, I learned from you. Thank you, and please know that we appreciate you. Wish the best for you and your business. You're so sweet. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate hearing that, even after, especially after all these years of being able to hear that. It's just so sweet. I really appreciate that. Let me see. I don't know, Shannon, if you were in here before, or were you the original one who asked the business insurance question? I have no idea. But yeah, Liberty Mutual. Oh yeah, Liberty Mutual business insurance. So, and then if any of you are wondering in terms of anything else that you need to get, so seller's permit, business insurance, business license, all that kind of stuff. From my extremely non-legal, I'm not a legal professional, but this is just my experience of it, is that business insurance is done through a private insurance company like Liberty Mutual. I think there's also like the indie business group or network or whatever it is. And your seller's permit is done if you live in a state that collects sales tax. That is obtained through your state's website. So I got that for free on the California state website. And then the licenses, that's done locally in your city. So you have a business license for your city. Fun fact, when we did our 4th of July, it was our first and only 4th of July vendor event that we did back in 2023. I was, 6 months pregnant or something like that with our son. And that event was held in the city right next to us. And because it was actually being put on by the city, they were very strict on the requirements. So you had to have, business insurance, business license, seller's permit. You had to be able to show all of that, which if you have ever been to a vendor event, you know that a lot of the vendors sometimes, they don't have all of those things. Sometimes they don't even have a seller's permit. So with that event, they required a city license, which was for Menifee, but because we live in Murrieta and have a Murrieta business license, it didn't count. So I had to pay for a temporary 1-day business license for the city of Menifee for that event. So that was kind of a bummer, but it was definitely the most, I don't even know the word. It was a very professional, like they had like their rules. You had to follow a lot of rules, which was fine. I mean, it was their event. It was being put on by the city and all that, but it was definitely an experience, especially 4th of July. But we got a great view of the fireworks. Well, the best view I've ever seen. I mean, I could see where they were shooting it off. It was so cool. And then ever since then, I haven't seen the fireworks in 2 years? Because our son is much too young to be watching fireworks. He would probably be very scared because of the loud noises. So we haven't done that yet. Maybe next year, but maybe not. I don't know. He'll be almost 3 next year, but I don't even know. That might be too young. I have no idea. All depending on how he is. I'm saving up for future one-on-one consultations. Erica doesn't know yet, but I see it. Yes, definitely. I know. I'm trying to get on my website, on my personal brand website. I'm trying to figure out how to set up the whole coaching on there. And I'm trying to figure out, one-on-ones, group coaching. I think I'm going to start with one-on-ones because I feel like I'm able to, pay attention to just one person and help that one person in that moment. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's been something that I've been thinking about more and more. I know that a lot of people have requested it in the past, and it's just a matter of feeling like I am able to make the time and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's something that I really feel that pull to do. Like, I feel like I want to be able to do more. And, I have all my products and courses and all that kind of stuff, and videos on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like it's different to be able to meet people one-on-one and be able to, help individually everybody. Leah, oh yes, I also use Liberty Mutual. Yeah. I feel like I feel like it's hard because I haven't thankfully had to use it, if you know what I mean. But so far, so good with the company. Thank you for answering my business question. I've been wanting to ask about your cabinets behind you. You've been looking for ones that are similar. Where did you get them from? Yeah, these are from IKEA. So these are the Billy bookcases. And then these are glass doors that we put on. Actually, we put those on a lot later after we got the Billy bookcases. I think it's because, try to remember. Why did we? Oh, because of earthquakes, and Chris is like worried about, because we're in California. So just to have that extra protection on the product, to have everything closed, but it does look really nice. I will say it does look really nice. And of course we have, the black on the digiboils and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like it does look really nice. But yeah, it's IKEA bookcases, the Billy bookcases, and then they specify on there the different type of coverings that you can put on it. And I think if you look on IKEA, it gives you the compatibility. I think it starts with an O, but that might not be the name of the glass. I don't know. Maybe if Chris is listening right now, he can find a link, but I don't know. But I think it starts with O, but I think that IKEA, they put like, if you just go to the Billy bookcases, I think that they have the compatibility there. I've been contemplating doing markets. I've seen many videos. It's not the best payoff. Part of me thinks maybe it's better to think of it as advertising rather than to make a profit. So yes, I think the hard thing about markets, and this is complete honesty, because I truly think that if you are just getting started, doing markets is fantastic for so many different reasons. One, it really gets you out there. It gets you talking about your business. It's different than just being behind your phone or your computer, making a website, making posts. It's so different. You're able to be out there with your brand, representing your brand, talking about your product, meeting potential customers, meeting people in your community. It's just so awesome to have that experience. However, it is definitely something to where there's no guarantee that you're going to be getting your money back. And of course, when you are paying, which around here, I think it's around $150 for a booth at most markets around here. Some places and some events, it's a lot less. Some places and events, it's a lot higher. I've heard some people, it's $1,000 for a 3-day event, like all day, 3-day huge event. And then for other people, I hear that it's $25 for a booth because they live in a small town and it's, a small vendor event. So it really just depends on where you live and everything. But I don't see doing one event, trying it out and seeing how it goes, especially if you are able to utilize a lot of the supplies that you already have. Of course, there is going to be some investment into it. But yeah, it is definitely a way to advertise your business because you can, seriously have your brand, your logo on a big banner in your booth. And it is a way for you to pop up at a location and advertise. And even if you live somewhere where there's not a lot of people or not a lot of events, if you live kind of near a bigger city or a bigger area where you can travel, 30 minutes to an hour to that event, it may be more worth it for you to get more traffic and, more people, more eyes on your product. Wake up. But yeah, it's hard because we have not done vendor events since our son was 2 months old and he just turned 2 last month. So, it's definitely something we have put on the back burner. And I think it's because it is a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of effort to get set up, bring all the product, make all the product, have all of that. And if you can't tell, all of these shelves, this is all bare. There's really no product on the shelves because Chris is doing made to order for everything, retail and wholesale right now. And that's because we don't have a lot of space to hold on to product. So when we get a lot of wholesale orders, we need space to be able to put them. And we also don't want to have product sitting in candle jars and containers that could have gone to a different order. And we're just looking at things a lot differently now. I never did it that way. I know a lot of people will do made to order for retail, but I never did when it was just me, working and doing all the candles and all of that. But it works for Chris right now. And let me tell you guys, this room is so small that I don't know how he's able to pump out thousands of products a year out of this tiny room. It's crazy. We just can't wait for the day where we can get a bigger space And, you know, it definitely was an upgrade to upgrade from the 1-bedroom apartment to this 2-bedroom apartment. The only issue is that this room is significantly smaller than the last room that we were making candles in. So it's felt almost like a downgrade in terms of the candle workshop space. But, you know, it is what it is right now. We're dealing with it. But in terms of vendor events and everything, I mean, it's definitely something we want to go back to doing. I mean, shoot, we may see an event and be like, hey, we want to do that November event or whatever. Like, we have no idea what things are going to look like, because we used to do Halloween to Mother's Day. That was our season for doing markets, and we would always do night events because we had too many events where the sun was way too hot on our products and our candles, melting, too hot in the sun, and then people are just walk by candles and they're like, it's too hot, I don't want to buy candles. But if it's a night event, especially if it's a little chillier, people will just kind of flock to the candles because it's warm and comforting, and they think about like, oh yes, I want to be home and lighting a candle. And it just, the weather sets the mood at vendor events, I will say. Let's see. Get him some noise canceling headphones. So for our son for fireworks. Yeah, I mean, when we used to go to the motorcycle track all the time, and Chris would race at the track, and we would even go down to the local kart track that allowed bikes over there, and we would ride together. And we always talked about, you know, when we had a kid, we'd take him over there, and it just, things have changed so much in our lives of what we're doing. And you know, we would see there would be this family that would come by, and they would ride, and they would have their baby and have the little noise canceling headphones on. I feel like our son would, like, I don't know, I've taught him, you know, when I use a blender, I've taught him to do, you know, earmuffs to just cover his ears, because he definitely, you know, like most kids, doesn't like loud noises like that. But yeah, that's definitely a possibility. He also just seems to, I don't know, he is, when people say that toddlers are wild, they weren't kidding. I swear, I was definitely humbled becoming a mom. It's been the most humbling experience I've ever experienced in my entire life, because I remember hearing moms and people would talk about things online, especially with newborns, saying, oh my gosh, you're going to get no sleep. Like, you get zero sleep. There's no sleeping. Like, you are so sleep deprived. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm sure it's tiring, you know, but zero sleep, come on. And there were some days where it was zero sleep until I forcibly had to go to sleep. And then as with toddlers, I'm like, I would hear people say, oh yeah, chasing after a toddler all day. And I'm like, are you really, like, you're running, you're physically running after a toddler all day? Yes. You are physically running after a toddler all day. It's just so funny. The things that I think about before I became a mom until now, it's just so funny. Okay, I am almost done prepping these, which means I'm going to have to call Chris in here because I don't know what else I'm prepping over here. Perfect. Okay. And just see me chat for a second. Have you ever thought about doing fundraising locally where 25% goes to the cause? That could be a great local business portion. Yes, just like what Leah said. So we donate 5% of our retail sales to a NICU foundation because our son was in the NICU for 16 days. And I just feel called to be able to support other families that are going through that, because it's truly one of the hardest things I've ever gone through in my entire life. And I know that there's families out there that did not have the same privilege that I did, where Chris and I were both home and had income coming in through the business. And so many people don't have that privilege. So I'm like, if I can help other families in any way, that is the best thing ever. So but that is a great idea in terms of doing something locally, which I actually did do something else with a charity, with a local charity, with specific candles that I was selling. it was a shorter time frame that I was doing it, but I was doing Temecula themed candles, which we still do have our Temecula Valley collection, but I was doing more kind of fun candles for the local community, and I was donating a portion of the sales to a local charity. So I really enjoy doing that. I do. When I was younger, it was never something that I thought about, or like, I'd always hear people saying, donating to charity and stuff like that. And I guess, in my head, there wasn't ever something like one specific thing that I was like super passionate about. Well, that's not true. There was. I guess I was just so young that I just, wasn't thinking about how I was able to actually donate or what that looked like. And now that I have the ability to do so, it feels really, really good. I love the bookcases with the doors on them. They look so pretty. Yeah, I agree. We actually wanted to get a different color other than black. I don't remember what color we were wanting, but I actually really like the black, and I think it goes with, it looks very black and white over here, which I guess has always kind of been more of the colors over here that we have. I have tried to bring on more colors to my brand, I will say. Greens and browns and just kind of warming colors, because when I first got started, man, I was just black and white, like literally just black and white. No color in the business, and I'm actually really happy I changed that. Okay, drop that. Let me clean that up. Okay, almost done doing these. Let's see, I love the newborn stage. The 3-year stage has me losing my hair at 24. Had me losing my hair at 24. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was just talking to Chris the other day about this, because I'm like, okay, when people say, people often say, okay, what's harder, the newborn stage or the toddler stage? And man, there is a part of me, and I was just telling him about this, I'm like, I feel like the toddler stage is easier. And the only reason why I say that is because I get significantly more sleep, and that changes everything. I feel like the more sleep you get, the more you're able to cognitively handle the craziness, but also the independence, the defiance, the downright disrespect, like everything. Oh my gosh. And they're still learning, and you're having to teach them. They don't know anything. Oh my gosh. I mean, I know that's how newborns are too, but you're not really like teaching them too much. You're just trying to keep them alive. But I guess you're also trying to keep toddlers alive too. Hi, honey. Okay, I'm almost done prepping these. Yeah. So I can do the black jars too. Okay. Yeah.
We'll make some space and move these little goals.
Oh yeah, where are we gonna put those?
Well, I have a little folding table.
Oh, okay.
So let me open this. Yeah. And we'll put them off to the side. And then I'll hand you the box of black jars.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I actually didn't realize how fast I was going to prep these. Are these all the golds we need? These are 50?
Yeah, just 50.
Okay. No, I didn't have enough wicks.
When you're talking about running after our son, yeah, all I can picture is us chasing him when he's riding his balance bike.
Yeah. Or just around the house, or just, when he's trying to climb up on his high chair and I just run over because, oh my God. I know, it is funny though, because people would be like, oh yeah, I'm just chasing after a toddler all day. And I'm like, are you really?
No. Yeah.
No, yeah, you are. Pretty much all day long.
Okay, I'm going to make sure that you're at least able to squeeze out of here.
Oh, thank you.
Because that table is... There we go.
My first didn't sleep. My second was an amazing sleeper. Yeah, luckily our son has been relatively good with sleeping for the most part. There's definitely been days and times that have been very hard. But overall, I know that there's way worse, way harder situations. So I can't really complain. Let's see.
I do not remember the name of these covers.
Yeah, I know.
And you're spot on. I was worried about the earthquakes.
Yes, yeah, I was trying to figure out why we got that. But wasn't it because we got those. I think we got those in the last apartment when we pulled it out to be behind, next to the candle making station.
Yeah, because it was in the closet. I remember I built everything in the closet,
Yes.
and I put the doors on that.
Yes, I do remember that. Both evil at 3, both girls. I've heard that girl toddlers are very, very special, very challenging. But then again, my parents swear up and down that me and my sister were perfect, no tantrums, no nothing. I'm like, did they have deja vu? Not deja vu. The opposite of that. And toddler amnesia, like to where they just don't remember that time. Because
it was a tactic to convince us to have kids.
Somebody is wondering if you're checking my work if the wicks are centered.
Oh, let's see. Yeah, looks good. Looks good. And then I'll go through. What I do is I'll just grab it like that, and then I'll take the scissors and cut them, because if you pour, you know what I mean, when it's short,
because there's too much weight there, so you try to make as little amount of weight as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
So keep it up. Because with these, we don't have any kind of wick holder on them.
Right.
So they just stay up, and then, but the hard part about these ones,
as they solidify, though, I have to.
Yeah, because the hot wax will heat up the wick, and it makes it, droopy and more pliable. So it starts to droop. So then we gotta, make sure as it's solidifying.
Okay. Do you want to lower the table a little bit because the jars are so tall?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do you? I'll just put this.
Yeah, the mechanism's right there. And then, there you go.
Which way? This way, right?
Yeah, clockwise.
Thank you.
There we go. And
this table is also from IKEA.
Yeah, this table's great.
This is a
Alright, that's good.
adjustable table. Okay, so now we're moving on to the 10-ounce jars from California Candle Supply.
There might be cardboard inside them, so I just will.
Okay.
Clean them up. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Do you have a bag of wicks that are wicked, or do I need to wick them?
Let me see here.
I can also wick them.
Here's a pack of CDN2s, and if there is lint from the paper towel, use the microfiber. It catches all the lint.
I'm learning.
I think, that's. And then if you want, I'll just I'll place the wick holders later.
Oh, okay. I guess good, because I don't want to go too far, too late.
We need 44.
How long have I been going? Almost an hour. Okay.
44 of them, but just do 24 because of space.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I gotta get all those over there, those clear jars, up on here after I label them.
Okay.
So. Cool.
Hand me the Wicking.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So, do you still leave all these on while pouring, or do you take them off?
The plastic?
Yeah.
Yeah, the plastic doesn't come off until.
You're ready to label and trim?
No, until I'm ready to put the warning label on. I trim already.
Oh, okay.
So I take the wick holder off, I trim them, and then once I use one of the Nertile gloves because I don't want to get fingerprints.
Yeah.
And then I take the plastic off to put the warning label on and label it. There's been many times where I've almost spilled a drop on the candle next to it, but this saved it.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because if you get one drop on these matte black jars, it's over.
It's
done.
A bad smudge.
It's done.
It's a schmear.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. That's all
Thank you.
these jars, Chris is an expert now.
Every day, 7 days a week.
He has made, I don't know, so many more candles than I have. so many more candles than I have, which is so funny.
2 years ago, you told me I made 7,000 candles.
That was last year. It was 7,000 products. It was
7,000.
like 4,000 or 5,000 candles. I don't know. It was a lot. Teachers become the student. I know, it's so funny. I'm like,
oh yeah,
hey, what do I
I'm
do
an
now?
expert. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna try to do the best I can and do it right.
Yeah, he's very good at. I mean, very precise.
Yep.
Way more precise. He used to critique because the tables that I used to pour on were not very leveled. And I mean, here he is. He's about ready to make candles, and he has a leveler for the table. I like walk in, and he's just like putting it on the table, and I'm like. So, and I would pour candles, and I'd be like, oh, it's a little bit higher on that side and lower on that side. I'd be like, okay, it's fine. He is so much better at all that. I'm telling you, like the precision. All right, thank you.
Well, because I'm doing something that represents you, so I gotta make sure that it's at.
No, I know. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I
Put some love and care into it.
Yeah. I mean, I put love and care too. You're just like expert level love and care.
Yeah, there's a term for it.
Somebody said the first thing I did was level everything. Maybe it's
all right. That's good. That's good. No, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist.
I didn't even know that levelers existed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's funny.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Fun.
And now I'm getting your work done. Yeah, I swear he I'm lucky that he is the way that he is, because I couldn't imagine, like, if there was somebody else that if he was a different way about things, I don't know if I could trust him with taking over all the candle stuff. But because he is the way that he is, I had no problem with him taking over things. And yeah, when you are not, the one making the candles and you're more disconnected from it, I'm like, oh yeah. But then I fall back into it. I'm like, okay, I could do this with my eyes closed. I know exactly what I'm doing, but it's just kind of falling back into it. But what I found to be hilarious, and it was honestly really kind of satisfying for me, because when I would be the one making the candles and he would come up to the pouring station and he'd be like, it's really messy. Like, there's wax everywhere. And like, do you ever clean this? And I'm like, I don't have time to clean this. Like, when you're making so many candles, and even at the time, I wasn't even making that many candles, but it felt like it at the time. And, but now I'll walk up to him and be like, why isn't this clean? Like, this is messy. So it's just so funny, because I'm like, it's just one of those things that when you're making so many products, splatters happen, you get wax everywhere. And when you are, focused on getting the products out, making sure that the table that you're pouring on is like spotless when it comes to the wax is not a priority at all. So, but I'm glad that I'm able to work and, make videos and connect with you guys. And feel free to ask me questions, because as soon as I am done prepping these, I'm gonna log off, because I want to have a teensy bit of time before we go get my son from my parents' house. You guys are a good team. Thank you so much. It feels that way. I mean, there are definitely really hard days, but overall we really, we work well together. And I mean, we're home basically 24/7 with each other all the time. And most people would be like, oh my God, I would not be able to be home with my spouse that much. And sometimes, there's times, there's moments, but overall, it does work out really well with having us work together. And we've had to work on different ways of communicating for business stuff. And, when there's messages or, samples that need to go out, or orders and all that kind of stuff, we try to make sure we're always communicating. But sometimes, sometimes there'll be things that will slip through, and we thought the other person knew about something and they didn't. And, honestly, we just text. I'll just send him screenshots or text. And just if I, even if he did see something, I'd be like, well, I'm just going to send him a text of it just in case. Let's see. You and Chris should live stream together more, would build a real community and bring loyal customers. Yeah, I think that as much as, he'll pop in every now and then and do, talk and hang out with me or, say things, I don't think it's really his like favorite thing to do. Even when he would record himself, making the candles and I would do a voiceover, which is what I used to do for podcast episodes. He's like, they don't want to see me. They want to see you. And I'm like, yeah, but maybe it's different when we're together. I feel like it's different when we're together. So I don't know. Maybe I can convince him, but I think that for right now, he just probably will be okay with just kind of popping in. But he was talking about, how cool would this be? He was talking about if we'd be able to set up different camera angles in this room and have like a live stream candle making, have like the pour station and then an angle over there, maybe an angle over there, like whatever it is. And I'm like, that'd be so cool if you could figure out how to get that set up. Just something I never even thought about doing, because if I did candle making, I'd be like, oh, I just probably do it right here and just, walk back and forth and just, because I feel like this would be fine for candle making. But the hard part is because of this small room, if we have more than one of these tanks going, it, what does it do? Trips the breaker? Is that the phrase? And it, obviously screws up everything. So we aren't able to do that. So I told him, I'm like, well, what if we ran the computer through a different cord outside of the room and then we could have the tanks on? Because I'm just thinking if we don't have our son home, we'd be able to do that. If we did have him home, that would be a nightmare. So I was just thinking in terms of doing either an evening time like this, candle making, when he's over at my parents' house, or a morning. I don't know. What works better for you guys, this time or morning? Does it depend on the day? Does it matter? I never know. I usually just hop on whenever I'm able to. But let's see. You absolutely should do that. Live streaming is huge right now. People love relaxing content like that. Yeah. Chris was even saying, he's like, well, what if, when we get a house and we turn the garage into our candle studio, we could have different cameras set up and live stream, shipping, candle making, prepping, like all that kind of stuff, and just turn it on. Not necessarily even having to talk, because I know some people will do that and just like, I don't know, play music, but I feel like I'd have to play copyright-free music, because if I'm going to put it up on YouTube, that's the thing that's hard. I know that when people do that on Twitch and stuff, they're able to not have to worry too much about the copyright of the music because it's constantly live. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it would just be so fun to be able to get that set up. I've also always wanted to get our brand name in one of those little neon signs. Just Memory Box Candle Co. I feel like that'd be really cool to have in the background and just make a whole setup out of it. Because as much as like, this is pretty cool, but in my head, I'm like, oh, it'd be so cool to just be able to make it into what I've always imagined, like a filming setup to be. Obviously, I've always adapted. I feel like my first filming setup in the last apartment, my earlier videos, think like 2020, 2021, even 2022, before we changed everything over into the bedroom, that setup, some of those angles, it looks so cool. Just being able to see the whole setup. But, as we've adapted and everything, I know that it just is what it is to, have things change up in the background. But for this small room, I think that, done a decent job with the way that it looks in videos and stuff. But just imagining the future of having a bigger space and being able to set up multiple camera angles and do more live streams and stuff, I feel like would be really cool. Plus the fact that I'm not nervous about live streams anymore, I think that also really helps. Because I used to absolutely be terrified of live streams. Like I would be like so nervous, so beyond nervous. I think my first live stream I did, I was just like, oh my God, this is the most nerve-wracking thing ever. And now I'm like, it's just hanging out, especially if I did it more and did more content like this, which I actually really enjoy doing stuff like this, and just hanging out, getting work done. So being productive it's like it's like the perfect multitasking for me. I get to get work done and I also get to record content while I'm doing it, which is like the best of both worlds. Let's see where, okay, there's a couple of questions I missed. Do you charge more or less for your white label? We charge more. The reason behind that is because we are now a manufacturer for another company. So we are doing the work of all of the everything, the testing, the wax blend, everything, the fragrance, all of that for another company. We also have our label designs, which has proven to be very desirable to customers. And, we just adapt our label to another brand's. We make it very simple and straightforward for white label, but yes, we do charge more for white label. And we also have 2 different kinds of white label. So we have to where the product could arrive blank, so literally like this with the lid, nothing else but the warning label on it, and then they put their own label on it. And then we also have custom, which we would then apply their branded label onto it, and then we can either just put their brand name in text, like how we do on the candle labels, or if they want to send in a logo. And then they can also choose a scent name as well. We don't offer custom scents. Again, a space issue. But if we did, we would have a minimum of 100 candles per custom scent, just because of all the work that goes into creating the scent, testing the scent, purchasing supplies for the scent, all of that kind of stuff. You and Chris did a few towards the end of your pregnancy. That is true. I know I reminded him of that we did do that. We did do a couple of live streams together. And again, I just don't think it's his thing. I think it's, maybe if we did it more, got more comfortable with it, or if it was a setup to where we had the cameras and all that either in here or in a future larger candle studio setup. But that's something that may change a little bit later on down the line. Who knows? I also think it would be so cool. And this is like years and years and years, like maybe 10 years down the line, of if we could get a brick and mortar, but then also have candle making classes, have streaming of the shop and the back end and all that kind of stuff. I feel like that would be so cool to be able to have. And honestly, if we're still doing this in 10 years, I would be so happy. Chris and I typically, from time to time, we have conversations about what the future looks like and what we're wanting and our goals and all that kind of stuff. Because I'm not gonna lie, it's freaking hard. It is hard. That none of this is easy. Especially having a young child with all this, none of this is easy, and I hope I never make it seem like it's easy. I mean, of course, I try to give encouragement and, tips and advice and all that kind of stuff, but it's still hard. So, we from time to time think about what the future looks like and all that kind of stuff. And, it would be so cool to be able to have, even if it's just a warehouse, even if it's not a brick and mortar store, if it's a warehouse that's close by wherever we live, which would be ideal. Because the whole thing of, keeping it at our house, either in a bedroom, which I can't wait to get the candle making stuff out of the house, to be completely honest. If it's in the garage, that would be preferable. There are some places where we live that are more rural. Rural, that's how you say it, that are more that. And they have houses and homes where they have, workshops or type, extra workshop, warehouse, garages, or whatever on their property. They're, of course, pretty expensive to rent, but it would just be that would be ideal. That would be the most ideal, to be able to have a separate candle studio shop on your actual property. That would be an absolute dream, honestly. I can't say that word either. It's hard. Usually I actually don't have that much of a hard time. But when I get caught on a word, I really get completely caught on a word. Leah, not like I watch every episode or anything. No, you have been here since like the beginning, and I always look forward to your comments and your input, and I'm just so appreciative of you sticking around for this long. I really do, because I get it. There's a lot of people that come and go when it comes to YouTube, channels and stuff like that. I do that a lot of times with, other people's content where I'll watch them for a while and then I won't, and then I'll come back to it like 6 months, a year and a half later, and kind of catch back up. So I don't take offense when people also do that with my channel. I totally get it. But I know that it would be so much more engaging with, everybody if I did more content like this, if we had more, content where I'm able to really connect with you guys more. I just feel like it's more exciting than me sitting there and talking, even though I do enjoy those videos too. I enjoy being able to teach and talk about things. But maybe the next live stream I do, I'll make sure that I do some kind of candle making. I'll make it to where we can have a separate cord, keep the computer on, and then be able to make candles as well. We start at the same time and you saved my sanity. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. I feel like, especially that time was absolutely insane. I feel like it truly hasn't stopped being insane, honestly, in terms of just the world. Since 2020, I feel like that was just a complete shift in, I don't even know what, but it's been crazy ever since. Hi, good evening, everyone. So glad I caught your live. Yes, I am too. I'm just wicking these 13.5 ounce Cali jars from California Candle Supply, and we use CDN 2 wicks, and we have our fancy schmancy wick press, which I know I always get questions. So this was actually a prototype that he had sent to us, and I am obviously not. I forgot the wick stickers. Sorry guys, it's been a little while, but as much as I feel like I just kind of fall back into it, sometimes I'm like, wait a second, forgot to put wick stickers on these. Okay, wick stickers, not going to forget those because you can't adhere it. But I get these from an Etsy shop, and it's from Carpe Link on Etsy. So I think it's like etsy.com/shop/Carpe Link. And yeah, he's got tons of, as far as I know, I haven't checked his Etsy shop in a while, but I know he was super busy for a long time, just having like the 3D printers going all the time. So yeah, that was crazy. But let me get these wicks out here. So if there's 24, I'm going to need 48 of these, because we double wick these, which was the best thing ever when I figured out that I could double wick these, because of how long I spent single wicking these until I realized I could double wick them. But honestly, when I first double wicked these, I double wicked them with 2 Eco 2s, which is way too hot. So then I bumped it down to CDN 2s after a couple years of trial and error of just adjusting things over time. And then we also do beeswax blend as well, depending on the fragrance oil. And it works out pretty good. But honestly, it's crazy thinking, when I first got started with these black vessels, and I didn't know how temperamental they would be to work with, because these jars I feel like are definitely not for beginners. Hence why we keep the plastic on them, because we want to make sure that we don't get any smudges or smears or anything. And as soon as that happens, they're done. It's not like a clear vessel to where you can just wipe it off. With these, it's just a permanent oily mark on it. I tried before in the past using so many different things to clean it, rubbing alcohol, soap and water. I think I tried a couple of other things too, and nothing worked to get it back to exactly where it was before. So yeah, that is when I learned that I cannot spill. Now, funny enough, the tins, which I don't know if you guys can see these tins. Oh, there's like a reflection, but it's like they're the little 8-ounce matte black tins from California Candle Supply. And those, whatever coating is on those ones don't have an issue with smudging if you spill on them. So those are more beginner friendly, I will say. I live in Louisiana. How would you ship with the weather so warm? So we have our Cold Shield bubble wrap, which honestly, using bubble wrap is not my first or favorite thing to do when it comes to shipping. We use a lot of paper and cardboard and the cornstarch packing peanuts and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes when we know it's the thickest summer, it's really, really hot, we'll wrap up the products in the Cool Shield. And you can also do more priority shipping and also ship Monday through Wednesday to try to decrease the amount of time that the candles are in shipment. And if you know specifically that a candle is going to a location that is very hot as well, maybe you can give that customer an extra notification. So send them an extra email and let them know that their order has arrived. And due to the heat, that you basically suggest that they get the package as soon as they possibly can. Last summer, we actually had a customer reach out to us and let us know that our candle was very melted when they opened it up. And we saw that they had actually got their order a week before. So in the Arizona heat, it had been sitting in the mailbox for 7 days. So that was definitely the reason for the unfortunately very melted candles. But following that, we sent them new products. And I actually remember texting her saying, hey, looks like your order arrived. Go get it from the mailbox kind of thing. Just to give that extra, make sure that they're going to go get it and not have candle soup because nobody wants candle soup. Let's see. Are they the 13.5 ounce Cali? Yes, they are. So these are the 13.5 ounce Cali jars. I believe these have a 3 1/4 inch diameter on these. So this is the nifty wicking device. And just like that, they are wicked. And they're about, I remember a while back, it's so interesting, when I first had him create these for me, I believe I sent him a candle that was wicked so he could see the spacing. So it's very interesting that one specific candle that I had sent in did the spacing for all the candles moving forward, just making sure it's not, too close to the edges. I try to make it, I think I did about 1 centimeter. Oh, it's about 1 inch apart from where the wicks actually are. I think that's what it is. It's about 1 inch apart from where the actual wicks stick up out of the bases. Is that what it's called? The bases. That's what it's called. I just joined a little late. Any tips on how to generate orders on Faire? So I recommend to be very active, even if you don't have any orders yet. So every day, log in to your Faire shop and do something. So even if, of course, it's just logging in once in the morning, once at night, and just even clicking around and looking at your product, changing up some of the words, changing some things around, and just showing activity. Because I think that when I was meeting with my Faire success manager, so I have a brand manager on Faire, and we meet up about once a month now. And when I was talking to her about, how I get questions about how to get more sales on Faire or how to do well on Faire, and it's hard to pinpoint exactly because every algorithm is so different on every platform. But from what I was thinking about when I was thinking, okay, well, what do we do? And both Chris and I log on to Faire every single day. He's constantly going on there and, going around on the back end and trying to see different analytics and trying to look into things and who put items in the cart and who can he message and all that kind of stuff. And, definitely responding to messages right away as soon as you can. Any orders that come in, send them a message, open up that line of communication. Photos are number one. Definitely, photos are number one, because you want to really attract the eye of your ideal customer. And fun fact, I'm actually looking to change my photos on Faire to match more of my branding now. So our branding on our retail website and our branding on our wholesale website is different. So when I was talking to her about that, she said that we should make it match and have it be, cohesive. It makes me a little nervous because the photos that we have on Faire have done really well for us, but it doesn't mean that changing the photos will be it'll have a negative impact. I think it'll still have a positive impact. So I was reading Chris's message on here. Faire's word optimization with product descriptions and also shop product. Yeah, so he's SEO. So search engine optimization. So just making sure you're putting keywords into your descriptions, which is actually what we need to optimize better on ours. So I just went through a Faire webinar where they were talking about SEO and how to, increase orders and conversions, which is what we're looking to do is turn the people that come onto our Faire shop, the looky-loos that are just, looking at everything, turning those into buyers. That is something that we are really trying to do because we have a lot of views, but our conversion rate is going down because not a lot of those views are turning into buyers. So we are just working on that to see what we can do to optimize everything to turn the people that are looking into actual buyers. But yeah, Faire, just like every platform of Etsy and even the algorithms on other social media like Instagram and TikTok and all that, they all have their own specific ways of setting things up and how success is and all that kind of stuff that you can do the best you can to try to have them do what they want you to do, essentially. But it's also one of those things where you have to be true to yourself on what really is with your brand and try to, have the two mend together. So you have your brand, everything that you want represented with your brand, and then also what the platform that you are selling on, what they recommend in order to make more sales, and kind of mend the two together to make it work for you. What sales channel generates the most sales for you? Are you talking about in terms of like where we sell or like the marketing? I think you mean like where we sell, and if so, that's definitely Faire. So Faire is our number one source of income right now, and then Shopify is second. So, which comes with its own pros and cons. Let me tell you, having wholesale be a greater income than retail is challenging because there's a lower profit margin. It's awesome. It's really cool, and it's been working really well for us, but it is challenging because wholesale requires more inventory and you get less profit per sale. We're still making a profit, but it is very challenging. And this year especially has felt even more challenging than the years prior. Actually, last year, when it really felt like, wholesale is really taking over and we're spending a lot of time on it. And, with our candle making workshops, we're really trying to get back into the local community, get back our local customers, and have that larger profit margin. And the possibility, Chris and I did say recently, like, we may do a vendor event sooner than we think. We just don't know. We haven't prepared for it. And we would have to prepare for it. I mean, he'd have to make a bunch of product because we don't have any stocked. So it would all be product made for the vendor event. I need to start getting into designing and customizing packaging. Do you have any recommendation for sites to use? I've never done any kind of customized packaging. I think that there are certain websites that allow you to basically do mock-ups when it comes to that. But all of my designing is always done in Canva. I think there's also websites like Creative Market or places like that that have certain designs already made, unless this was something you were wanting, completely unique and kind of from scratch. And with that, I actually don't know of any specific design platforms for that. I did look into doing some kind of customized candle boxes earlier this year, just as an idea, just kind of playing around with it, but I never really went through with that, even though it'd be something I would love to be able to do. It's just, again, another expense. And I'd have to make it worth it with the prices that we already have for our boxes that we get from Uline. I'd want it to be kind of close in price and not too much more. But yeah, every kind of designing thing I do, I'm definitely a Canva user. I know a lot of people use like Photoshop or other type of Adobe softwares like that. But yeah, I'm just such a Canva user. And I would love to learn how to design my own candle boxes. Actually, I should ask my friend. She loves designing like any kind of packaging. I gotta ask her what she uses. I wonder if she just uses Canva. I have to see. I'm using Canva for now. It's great so far. Yeah, I feel like Canva has just become the entry-level easy designing platform. It's made it so easy for so many people that are not like professional designers. Whoopsies. That didn't stick. Okay. Let's see, how can I fix this? Did that stick? Yep. Okay, I saved it. I have to make a couple more wicks, so I'm getting down to the last bit of candles. I need to tell Chris when to pick up our son. Got a lot of Faire messages to respond to. Let me see. Hi, Linda. Wow, from Australia. So it's tomorrow morning for you, because if it's 5 right now, it's what, 10:30 for you? I've talked with quite a few people from Australia more recently, so I've become more familiar with the time difference. Where can I find the Wick centering tool? I can try to remember to type it in the chat. So it's etsy.com/shop/carpe link. Yeah, Chris just put that on there. Yeah, he makes all of them with his 3D printers. And we've been using him since the beginning. I think he contacted me either back in 2020 or 2021. I can't remember. And
what time do you want me to go?
Between 6 and 6:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Between 6 and 6:30.
Maybe 6:30.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 6:30.
All right. Brody.
Because I can't remember. I think it was 3 or 3:30 that you dropped him off.
Okay.
Okay. Hey from Maryland, fellow candle maker here. Hi, Shannon. Welcome. I'm not going to be on here for too much longer. I'm just finishing prepping these, just hanging out. You guys can feel free to add on any last minute questions that you may have, but I do plan on doing more of these, hopefully some candle making ones that you guys can actually see and, enjoy the process of all of it. Because I know, prepping is, man, don't we all just kind of feel about prepping? I mean, it's not my favorite thing. That was the first thing that I offloaded onto Chris when he started helping me out more. I'm like, you could definitely prep these jars for me. That could definitely help. And now I'm doing that for him. It's crazy how the world changes. How the turntables, as Michael Scott would say. We watch The Office. Like, we don't sit down and watch TV ever. The TV's never on. We never sit down and watch movies or TV or anything. And a couple weeks ago, we put on The Office and just decided to just chill and hang out. And I forget how funny The Office is. Every time we watch it, it just reminds me of how friggin' hilarious it is. Let's see, just finished 100 candles. Oh my gosh, congratulations. That is so awesome. Do you mean like pouring, like everything, or prepping, just the whole process of doing 100 candles? Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's, it can be a lot. I don't know how Chris does it. I mean, I think it's because, you know, he's got his routine of how everything does. But I remember when I had to pour 100 candles, it took me a little bit to really get through everything. And I can't remember exactly what I was pouring 100 candles for. I gotta rewatch that video. I made a video that had making 100 candles or something in it. Hi Erica, I just finished wicking 200 candles. Woohoo! So you were right there. Doing that is definitely a process. I swear, if we had any kind of machine that helped us, it wouldn't be pouring the candles. It would be wicking the candles and labeling the candles. And I think Chris would agree with me on that. The pouring of the candles is not the most challenging. It's literally everything else that comes into it. Like the actual pouring, making of the candles is not the hard part. And it's not even hard, it's just tedious. There's just a lot to it. And a lot of it, what's nice though, is that with this kind of work, it can be so mindless that you can just have whatever playing in the background and just, you know, listen to music, listen to a video, a movie, whatever it is. And it allows you to kind of just, you know, have that mellow time with prepping and making. Let's see. Erica. Sorry. I didn't realize there were a couple more people in here. Hello, everybody. Let me see. I love to watch you. I watch, listen all day, every day. I've learned so much from you. Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you so much. I'm always happy to hear, so happy to hear that my videos have helped you guys, because that's the reason why I keep making them, honestly. Like, I know how much it helps people, and to be able to see from the beginning to now and everything in between. Thank you, Erica. You have helped my wife and I start our hobby and do a small business. Yay! Congratulations. That's so exciting to be able to go from the hobby stage, from, you know, trying it out, testing, playing around with the materials. I did it again, playing around with the materials and, you know, figuring everything out, and then to turn it into an actual business. It's just such a different step forward. It just requires basically a different side of the brain to really put everything together, because we have our creative side of the brain, and then when we launch the business, that has to be more of the logical left side of the brain and figuring all of that out. So that's super exciting. I'm so happy for you. Starting the prepping is the hardest part. Once I get in the flow of it, I don't mind. Yeah, I feel the same way. Because again, with this, and especially being able to talk, I barely even realize that this is what I'm doing, because it's just, you know, it's something to fidget with my hands with. And I think Chris and I are both the same way, where we like to do work with our hands of some kind. Chris especially, because I mean, he's welded, he's worked on motorcycles, he, you know, fixes things around the house and all that kind of stuff. So he's definitely more of that mindset as well, with, you know, staying and working with your hands. And even though when I work now, I'm mainly on the computer, but when I am able to work with my hands, it is really nice. I guess typing is working with my hands, right? I'm using my hands to type. Let's see. So, did I miss anything? I need to look and see. I have the whole chat up. Chris put an entire monitor. So we have two monitors. I have the computer over there, and then right in front of me with the camera, I have this whole screen that has the whole chat on here, which is really cool. And my eyes are decently okay. I wear contacts, and I probably need slightly upgrade on my prescription, but not too much. So I can read it pretty fine, but you guys have probably seen me just kind of going like, okay, what am I looking at? Linda, I have a candle business in Australia, and I just do markets. That is awesome. I know a lot of people that markets are pretty much their whole business, or it's just like a thing on the side. They're not wanting to, you know, do all these different avenues of marketing and selling and all that kind of stuff, and being able to go out, have that one sales avenue that you have is great. I honestly, I do miss doing markets. When it was fun, it was fun. When it was good days, busy days, fun days, and we had customers in our booth all the time, I mean, it was great. It was so invigorating and energizing. And our first ever market was the most fun, still to this day, that we had doing a market, and it was a Halloween event. We were figuring things out, talking to people, telling them about the brand and the products, and also handing out candy to kids at the same exact time. It was kind of chaotic, but it was a lot of fun. So definitely will never forget that first vendor event moment. All right, well, I'm down to my last one. It is 5:45, which means I will probably have maybe an hour and 15 minutes to myself before the little one gets home later. Chris is gonna go get him soon and bring him home. And he's been spending a lot more time with the grandparents lately, which is, great for everybody, I would say, for him and them, and for us to be able to have a little bit more time to do different things like this or get, more work done. And as he's gotten older, it's felt easier to do that. I will say I've been that kind of mom that's been like, I don't know if I could just go over and drop him off. Like, I'm just going to drop my baby off. Like, it felt weird to me. But as he's gotten older, I'm just like, I mean, you can take him for a few hours. It's okay. But obviously I get so much time with him, all day with him. And then he gets to hang out with grandma and grandpa. And, it's just fun. We're super lucky to have, family and help and everything around here. So super, super lucky. Let's see. I hate to have to leave. Cat is on the keyboard. Your cat is on your keyboard. That's funny. Okay, so let me get all of this thrown away because I will want to make sure I do this first. But I am going to head off. I appreciate everybody for coming and hanging out with me this evening. I hope you guys had a relaxing time. I hope that maybe you were getting some work done, doing the dishes, hanging out, whatever it is that you were doing while I was getting all this prepped. It felt really good to be able to, contribute to the candle making part because, again, I've been so disconnected from it, so it feels good to be able to do that. But I want to make this more, hold on, cleaning that up. I want to make this more of a regular thing for you guys to come on here and, do some kind of candle making stuff, just hands-on. I mean, even if I did, even if I did just a live tutorial for candle making, I feel like that would be a lot of fun. Or just pouring the candles and talking, answering questions, whatever it is. I ended up taking a lot of notes. Oh, cool. Very cool. I'm glad that it helps you guys and that it's fun to hang out. And I appreciate, and I actually really like the smaller crowd. Sometimes when there's a lot of people and the chat is going like crazy, it's really overwhelming. And so to have it be more mellow, it feels really good. So I appreciate you guys. So proud of you and Chris. Thank you for sharing your candle training class. Of course. Yes, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for all of the encouragement and support and following me. And I just really appreciate it. And I'm going to have to go over here because I got to click in stream. So I'm going to go over here, but I appreciate you guys. And I'm going to go over here. Okay, I will see you guys next time. Have such a good night, you guys.